1, 2, 3.
Good morning, teacher.
Good morning, students. Hello.
Good morning, guys.
Okay, let's give a minute for the new co-teacher to quickly introduce herself before we start. So, teacher, you can go ahead, introduce yourself to the class.
ทำไมมันค้าง
Very soft, very soft. Teacher, can you please introduce yourself? We can't hear that clearly.
Boss Chaikere.
Teacher Fern, can you introduce yourself?
มันค้าง
Oh, but
so sorry. Sorry. Okay, may I introduce myself. My name is Natida Hongthanathirasanti, and you can call me Teacher Fern. And nice to meet you guys.
Hello, nice to meet you, teacher. Hello, hello everyone. Okay, so let's jump straight into what we're going to do today. And today we are moving on to a new chapter, a new unit, and it's still to do with adjectives, but we're going to look at superlative adjectives now. Last time we looked at comparative adjectives. Now we will be spending some time and looking at superlative. So first things first, let's have a look at our rules. So it's on page 65. It says here the oldest pet. Now the oldest meaning it's a superlative adjective. Now before we look at the structure, I want to show you my structure, which is a little easier to understand. So first off, we also always have to first describe what is an adjective, what is a noun, so that we know how these words work together. So a noun is something that we can, there's three things a noun can be. It can be a person, it can be a thing. And adjectives is something that describes the noun. So we said last time that information can tell us if something is big or tall, young or old, short or tiny. So that's with information. Or we can look at an opinion. Something is beautiful, it's expensive, it's delicious, it's ugly, it tastes bad maybe. So that's an opinion. And then we can also have a feeling. Like teacher feel happy, or I feel tired, or hungry, or sleepy. So that's just a way of explaining or describing the noun. So when we look at superlatives, they are a little bit different than comparatives. And we'll have a look at the differences as well. So for words with one syllable, where we used to just add ed at the end for comparative, now we add est. So for the previous lesson, we looked at short, and we said the comparative adjective for short is shorter. But now we look at the superlative meaning the extreme one, the over the top. So if you look at the class, someone can ask, who is the shortest? Now that est means that is the extreme scale. So where I can say I'm shorter than someone else, but the one over there is the shortest, meaning the smallest. So that's for one syllable words. And the same we can do for big. Big is also a word that has a consonant, vowel, consonant. So what do? We add an extra consonant at the end plus the est. So big becomes biggest. So there are steps for adjectives. You get big, bigger, biggest. So last week we dealt with the middle portion of adjectives. So you have the big one, bigger, and then the top one, biggest. So we are today looking at the biggest or the superlatives. Okay. So our another rules we have is for 2-syllable words like hungry, noisy, angry, fuzzy. So those are words that end in a Y. Now we know for when a word ends with a Y with 2 syllables, we have to add an I plus est. So the Y changes. Oh, let me change my color of my marker to pink. So the Y changes to I and we add est. So hungry, the Y becomes an I over here and we add est. I'm the hungriest of all of you, or I am the noisiest of the bunch. So again, for noisy, 2 syllables, we add est, but first we have to change the Y into a I. Okay, we'll do examples to practice, but I first just want to explain the difference of these adjectives compared to the ones we spoke about last week. And then we get to the 2+ syllable words. Those are the ones that do not end in a Y. So it's 2 syllables plus. So we have here, we have modern, and here we have expensive. So modern has 2 syllables, expensive 3 syllables. So here, where in the previous lesson, we didn't add most. What did we add for comparatives? Who can remember? Modern. We didn't add most, we added more. She dresses more modern, or she looks more beautiful. Now, when we talk about the superlative, meaning the extreme one, the over the top, the most. So then we use the word most. If you look at something is modern, if you want to put it in a superlative form, we will say the most modern. For expensive, the most expensive. Okay. So those are just our few rules that we come across. So let's look at some examples before we start with the rest of the lesson. So here we can say there are 3 houses. So let's look at the first one. I'll do it from red, yellow, then blue. So we will say red is big. It's a big house. Then we can say the yellow house is bigger. Bigger than red. Oops, I missed the H there. It's bigger than red. So this is the sentences we wrote last time. Red. So we compare 2 things. The yellow house is bigger than the red house. But now we have 3 houses. And we want to know which house is the biggest. So then we would say the blue house is the biggest house on the street. Okay. It's the biggest. It's the most. It's the extreme part of it. Okay. So that's one example. The next one. We can say rock music is the best kind of music. Now, best we'll come back to, best and worst, because they are 2 exceptions that we need to deal with, but we'll deal with them a little later. Or we can say my dog is the laziest pet in my house. Look what happened to lazy. Lazy is L-A-Z-Y. So the Y fell away and we added an I and plus the E-S-T. Okay, my dog is the laziest pet in my house. It just lays around all day doing nothing. Okay, are you guys still with me? Do you understand? We're going to find out soon enough when we do our explanations and examples. So another explanation they have here, for example, tall becomes the tallest. So we can say that this girl over here is the tallest in the class. Okay. So now we have to backtrack a little bit to go to our book and see what the book tells us. So we use superlative adjectives to compare 3 or more things. So one syllable, like we say, add est. 2 syllables ending in a y, change the y to an I, add est. 1 vowel, 1 consonant. So then we add a double consonant at the end plus est, like big, bigger, hot, hotter. Okay. 2 or more syllables, we can add the most. And then good and bad are the 2 irregular ones, exceptions. Good becomes better than best. Bad, worse, worst. Okay, so those are the 3 steps, and we will practice them. So notice that we always use the before superlative adjectives. Kai is the tallest student in our class. The safest way to travel is by train. Okay. So now it's time for us to do some exercises. Let me just see. Okay, we still have enough time, enough to do all of these. So yeah, practice. So now we have a adjective and we have to write it in the superlative form. So let's see if you guys manage to get all of them. We have 7 we have to get. If we get all of them, we can get a high five. Yes. So the first one, kind, becomes the kindest. Second one, early. Who can tell me what is the superlative form for early? Who's going to try? The superlative form for early. Come on, it's Friday. Beautiful, rainy Friday. Let's see. You can't allow the teacher to catch you out on the first one. Again, Leon?
Is early.
The earliest. Remember, when we pronounce the word, we have to put a little bit extra on the end here. So early, earliest. Kind, kindest. So when we pronounce, we will practice some of them once we write all of them down, but the pronunciation change a little bit towards the end. Okay. Can you spell earliest for me, please, Leon?
L. Hey, oh, sorry. E-A-R-L-I-E-S-T.
Just wanted to say it doesn't start with an L. Excellent. The earliest, that spelling is perfect. Well done. Just make the writing a little bit smaller so it fits in here. Please remember to also complete these in your books while we are doing them, so that you have the information. The next one, good. Okay, good we'll leave out. We'll come back to good at the end. Good and bad we'll leave out. So let me just draw a line through here. For now, we come back at the end for good and for bad. Okay. The next one is bright. Bright. What would the superlative form be of Bright. Remember, bright only has one syllable. What happens when we only have one syllable? We add EST. So who can tell me what is the superlative form for bright?
Brightest.
Brightest. Can you spell that for me, please?
BRIGHTEST.
Brightest. Excellent. The brightest. The reason why it's like that is only one syllable. The next one, intelligent. What would the superlative form for intelligent be? It has 4 syllables.
Most intelligent.
Oh, so the rest of the class also with us. Excellent, excellent. Well done, ladies. The most intelligent. Teacher is the most intelligent person in this classroom. Do you agree? Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. It's up to you if you agree or not. Okay, we have 4 more to do here. The first one is thin. What would the superlative form be of thin?
Was
Thin. Not bad. Number 7. 7.
Thin.
Thin.
Thinnest.
How do you spell that?
THINNEST.
THIN. Thinnest, like that.
No.
What do you think then? How do you spell it then? Thin is a very strange word. It has a few ways that in English it's been written before. For example, you get people that will say someone is the most thin. In some English books, they will say the most thin. But in other books, they will say thinnest with 2 N's. So which one do you think is the correct one? Well,
thinnest.
thinnest is the one, if we follow the rules of what we have learned today, is the correct one. But the most thin is also being used quite regularly. So this is also one of those ones where they apply different rules to one word. But to make it easy for yourself, we just use the rules that we have so that it's a little bit easier to do all these words. So we can just say thinnest. Thinnest is the best word that I would use when I want to speak proper English. Okay. And then the last one is powerful. Powerful. More than, look at the syllables. Powerful. 3 syllables.
Most powerful.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, I will accept that and say, great job, you guys. Most powerful. But what if we have a word, for example, full? Oh, why did I press? Oops, I don't want to press enter. If I have the word full, what would its superlative be? What do you think it will be now? For powerful, we say most powerful. But what if we say I'm full? I've had enough food, I'm full.
Fully.
Fully? Remember, we don't use a Y when we use superlatives. We don't use a Y at the end. We either have to use ER or EST or the most. The three ones we can use. So for full, because full only has one syllable, we can just follow the rule, fullest. I'm the fullest of all of us. Because it only has one syllable. So the reason I say this is don't get confused with words like powerful and full, because they are totally different words and we have to treat them differently. And the best thing we can do is just speak it in your mind and ask yourself, how many syllables? Powerful. 3 syllables, add the most. Okay, full. 1 syllable, add EST. Okay, so that is just a basic way how you can think about these kind of words. It is not that easy, if I have to be very honest with you, but when we practice, it becomes easier and we get better at it. Why? Because with practice makes perfect. Okay, so now we have 2 more words here. Good and best. Sorry, good and bad. So what do you think the superlative for good is? What do you think the superlative for good is?
Best.
Best. Are you sure? Why can't I just say I am the goodest? Why can I not say that? Because there's no such word as the goodest. The only reason we know this is because they tell us that good and bad, they are different in the way we have to deal with them. So good and bad both are exceptions to the rules. So that's why good becomes the best. Yes, Leon, your answer is 100% correct. Excellent. We say the best. And if we look at the comparative form, when we compare 2 things, we say better. I am better than someone else at doing math or reading books. But the same can be said for bad. Bad goes from bad to worse. And what worse? And what do you think is the superlative form of bad then?
Was.
Worse. But how would you spell that?
W-O-R-S-T.
W-O-R-S-T. Excellent. Yes. Good job. That is perfect spelling. Well done. So those 2 are exceptions. You just have to learn the exception off by heart. There's no other way of figuring out how to write it. You just have to study it this way. But all the other words, we can follow the rules to find the answers. But let me first go with you through these words and let's practice them a little bit. And we won't carry on too much further today because I want us to practice these ones. And then the bottom ones we are going to give for homework. Why? Just so that I want to see if you understand what we are doing. We will also do them in the classroom next week, but I want us to make sure we can understand. So the first word on top is the kindest. So let's all practice together. Kindest.
Kindest.
Remember the T at the end, kindest. A small like a at the end sound, kindest, best, brightest. Okay, let's do brightest. Brightest.
Brightest.
Excellent. I can hear that T at the end there. Beautiful, beautiful. How about worst?
Worst.
Excellent, excellent. One more time. Worst.
Worst. Worst.
Very good. I like to hear that small at the end, that sound. It's not the easiest sound, but when we practice, it gets a little bit easier. It's also the same with words ending with an S, because in the Thai language, we don't find any words that end with an S. So a lot of the times we forget to say the S at the end because we are not used to doing that in our own language. Okay, but before we end, I want to do one example with you at the bottom, because you know, teacher must always give an example so that I can be 100% sure you know what is needed. So the first one they have here is tall. Lee is the tallest in the family. So tall, one syllable, but already has two consonants. So we just add EST. The next one is wet. Today is the wettest day of the year. Wettest. Remember to add the TEST because it has consonant, vowel, consonant. So we add another consonant plus EST. Okay. So that's all the help that you will receive from teacher. If you have any questions about any of the answers, please, you can always contact me on my mobile number in the line group. If I do not reply immediately, it means I might just be a little bit busy, but I will reply. Don't worry about that. I will definitely reply. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to do. So you only have to write 12 words, the and the superlative. So it's very short work and very short homework. Maybe only take you 2 to 3 minutes to do. Okay. So today is Friday. It is a beautiful day and it's raining. So for those of you that don't usually beat teacher in a rock, paper, scissors, let's see, maybe your luck will change today. So if you are ready to take an opportunity to beat me, please remember to turn on your camera and get ready and do some warm-ups, because you know teacher is always ready to win. But I also want you guys to win, but you have to earn it. I'm not going to give you the win for free. Are you guys ready? Are you steady? If you don't have a camera, you can use the chat to send your answers. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Who is winning me today?
No rock?
No rock? Oh, there's no rock? Yay! Teacher is victorious today on a Friday. Oh, I see Temfa at scissors. Unlucky. Temfa at scissors. No one else in the chat, only Temfa. Yes. Oh, Pooh didn't play today. Unlucky. So, thank you guys for coming. And thank you for being here, being on time, and also being a little patient in the beginning before we started. And please remember to do only those few answers at the bottom and send it to us in the line group. Send the whole page. Okay. And I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Take care, and I'll see you guys again bright and early Monday morning. Bye-bye.
Thank you guys.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.